Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of season 2 of the Yarnivore podcast. I am Sadie. I will be your host, as always. I have an itch. There's an itch. It's been a week. It's been a long week for me. And I'm very sniffly, and I apologize. I'm on antibiotics. So it goes. Bebop is also on antibiotics, but I'll get into that later. I feel like I haven't done anything and that I have no progress to report, but I know I do. I'm going to keep checking because he's like right, you can't see him, he's right here. And there's Frank. Frank's is high too. She's going to come bug the Bebop because that's what Franks do. Actually, Beetle is the one who's been bugging everybody because she's been grooming everybody. She's had a grooming moment. No one is safe from the grooming of Beetle. She just walks up and she gets to town, but it should be entertaining. And just a little bit of room shenanigans. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff out behind me. When we were moved, they broke our bed, our second bed, our day bed that's right here. They broke it. I don't know what they did. I think they warped a couple of the pieces. So currently it's pulled apart because we have to take pictures and send them in and blah, blah, blah. So we took the pictures and we sent everything in and they were like, we need more pictures of the day bed. We're like, okay, we'll send you more pictures. It's an IKEA pull-out. Pulls out to be a double, or it's a twin when it's pushed together. It's where Mom stays most of the time. You've seen it before. And so we have the drawers pulled off and all kind of stuff going on. Oh, there's my mother. Sorry. She had she had a little disagreement with Services Canada. I'm not sure what the equivalent is for America, but Services Canada is where they keep your birth records and everything. Where you'd go to change your name, etc. And they had her birthday listed as 2 years younger, which for many people would be a happy occasion, except that would really mess with her retirement plans, so she spent the morning there. What can you do? I am wearing, before I get too far into this, ta-da! I'm not going to stand up because I don't feel like it, but you can basically see it. There's the bottom half. This is the Water Street cardigan by Glenna C. And I knit it out of handspun, and I used the less is more ratio. Less is more is a knitty pattern that Amy Boogie of Spunky Eclectic, she wrote that pattern, and there's a weighted ear, so you can use 4-ounce sets. I was doing less is more, and then I ripped it out because it looked horrible on me because I did the wrong size. My gauge was off and I was just pissy. And then this pattern is very easily written, so I figured I will do the less is more theory, which is you do this many and then you stripe for a certain portion and you do this many, and it really works. It's very comfy. I wear it a lot around the house. I wear it out sometimes when I feel like wearing it out and being very colorful. It's a very colorful sweater. There's a lot of color going on. There's a side for you. I did end up making it too big, but a couple of the yarns, and it's got this foldy collar, it kind of runches. It's designed to runch. Because I made it a little bit big, and a couple of the yarns in here are superwash, I just felted the crap out of this thing, and it shrunk up enough that it looks okay. That is really the only hack I had to use, was that I had to shrink it a bit after. It grew so much after I washed it and blocked it that it was this is nuts. So it took a couple rounds of, and I watched it quite carefully. When I felted it, I did 5 minutes, check, 5 minutes, check, re-wet, 5 more minutes, until it was the size that I wanted. And yeah, I'm going to be drinking a lot too, so deal with that. My Waterade, my Powerade. my Waterade. My water and my Powerade. So I don't get dehydrated. Because apparently that's a problem for me now. But we won't get into that. Works in progress. And if I sneeze, I'm sorry. I've been trying to sneeze for weeks now. If I actually get one, you just hang tight. Hang tight. What have I been working? I've been working on a few things. Again, I feel like I have no progress, but I do actually have progress. Let's start with these. In my Seashore Sharon Halloween bag, which is so happy and perky and a lot more perky than I am currently, is my Dia de los Muertos socks, which are out of Desert Vista, in her Viso base. This is the 12 stripe one. I know there's a variant. I think I have the variant as well. And I am going to be putting the heel flap in on this next color. Or I'm going to be putting the afterthought line, you know what I mean. This is currently almost 8 inches long. Almost 8 inches long of glorious, wonderful, bright, stripy yumminess. It's so easy. I love knitting stripy socks when I don't have the mental acuity to do much more, you know, because you get something done and it's really pretty and it looks really complex, but really that's all in the dyer. So my standard 1x1 ribbed cuff, I did it for, you know, a couple of 3 large chunks of color and 3 of the black stripes in between. Next up is pink, and I'm going to be putting the afterthought heel waist yarn in at the pink. I'm enjoying it. I will probably work on it today, as yesterday was hubby's duty day, so today I get to pick him up. Which is also why I didn't record yesterday, because I had absolutely no desire to after I was up at 5:30 in the morning. None whatsoever. Go figure. No, go figure. They're always long days, right? When you have to get up and drive and work at 5:30, and then you got other stuff to do, and then there's running around. And but he gets a 4-day weekend this weekend, and I get to have him all to myself, and I'm not sharing. Not sharing. Nope. Mine. I guess the pets can borrow him, but for the most part, I'm keeping my husband to myself. Anyone from work calls, I'm gonna be like, go away. He's mine. My weekend. Just so you know. Because I'm a horrible person like that. Very selfish person when it comes to my husband. No, I'll share him with his family. I won't share him with anyone else, though. He's the same way with me, so I guess it's not a bad thing. I'm just going to leave the lid off this time. It may make some noise. I may drop it. And again, I'm drinking out of the bottles. I'm sorry. I'm a bad hippie. They're going to come and take me away. But again, we need to get the big water jug, and I wasn't doing it on my own. I just wasn't. And quite frankly, I can't bend over without my head trying to explode right now because of the pressure. So, no bending, which is a very odd life, okay? Next up, what else did I get done on? There's going to be a lot of rambling in between things here. We were playing board games over the weekend, and the kitchen chairs can be a little annoying to sit in for extended periods of time. So we took the computer chair out of the spare room here, and I had the computer chair, which is where I was throwing everything and picking it off of for the show. So it's in the kitchen right now, where we were playing board games. We played Machikaro and Gloom. And so it's not in here. So I had to stack everything on top of the printer and the side of the desk, and then there's some over here on the other side of the desk. And I've got my notes under stuff, which is, of course, where you should put your notes when you're recording. Know where you can see them is very intelligent, for the record. And in my Renee bag, which is nice and big, this is the perfect bag for knitting like sweaters. And although this isn't a sweater, it is a poncho. It's a poncho. I finished. Okay, it doesn't look like much right now. So I finished, I've got a thread, the A chart. I'm just kidding. The A chart, which is this relief. It looks like a little X here. There you go. I knit the rows in between, and now I'm about to start the second chart, chart B. And that's kind of motoring away. It's on US 4s. My stripy socks are on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, which is my basic. When I do stripy socks, I do a 64 stitch on a US 1 2.25. It gets me the gauge I want. It fits the way I like. These are US 7s 4.5 millimeter needles, and so this is the upper back. This is it folded in half. So I do have the back neck done, and they will be joined, but chart 4 is done. The charts for this one are really big. That's my one qualm with the Nomad. It's the Nomad by Nora Gowan, which I showed last week. I showed a picture of. I always forget to do the other side. It's the Nomad by Nora Gowan, and the only issue I have, and it's not even an issue, it's just a personal flavor thing, is that the charts are really big. They're really long. The repeats are really long, you know, so there's a lot of counting involved. And then the charts are written for different, like the chart is written, and then there's markers for different sizes of where you have to start and stop for each piece. And it gets a little confusing even if you throw highlighter tape all over that. Like, I printed it out because I was like, this is too big for me to mark off on my iPad. I'm going to get lost. Which is what I do if the pattern is a little complex, or if it's a little too complex for me to be able to do on my iPad. Print it. Oh, okay. I'm like, what's hanging off the printer? That's my itinerary for going home. When the patterns get too big, or there's too many charts, or there's multiple charts I have to follow, I will print them off to be able to mark them off properly with highlighter tape or with post-it notes. Or I'm past the age where I need to feel like I'm a failure if I do that. I know a lot of people print off their patterns, and they're better people than me, but I try not to if I can get away with it, just because that's the hippie in me who's drinking out of a plastic water bottle. I try not to. If it's something easy, I won't. If it's something more complex, I will print it off, and I'll usually just print off the ones I need, because like this pattern is 7 or 8 pages, and I only needed 2. So I printed that off double-sided, and chart A and B are printed off, and you know, you highlighter tape mark where you start and stop, and then you've got your row marker thing, and even still, it's just that the main motif that sits below your bosom is a very large repeat. It's something like 80 stitches, so yeah, I may not work on that this week. I may not. That just sounds like a lot of work to me right now. I want small repeats. Small repeats. I have been to town on my vintage prim as part of the Yarnivore Brioche along. That's what we're calling it. Feel free to tag your projects on Instagram and Ravelry as Yarnivore, B-A-L, capital B-A-L. There is a chatter thread and a finished objects thread in the Ravelry group, and I will pick out some prizes, probably from my stash, over the next little bit. So there will be prizes. Do as many finished objects as you want. The only requirements is they have a sizable brioche pattern in them. Like, because I know that there's Stephen West shawl, I think is the exploration station, that has the brioche bit. That'd work. The vintage prim, which I am knitting my second one of, it has a brioche panel. That's enough. I'm not going to be sticky and say you have to make an entirely brioche something. Just make sure there's a big enough chunk of the project that has brioche, and that's good enough for me. This is a bag. It's a 2nd Avenue swag bag, which I got from the lovely Awilda. Awilda? Awilda. See, now I'm mispronouncing your name. Who is adorable and wonderful, and if you're into shawls, if you're a shawl knitter, you should really check out her Doctor Who companion ones, because those are really pretty. She did send me her, I'm going to screw it up. And it's beautiful, and it's the most gorgeous purple. Oh, I could look it up on my iPad. But either way, she has a Ravelry group. It's Awilda, Awilda B, the letter B, Designs. Is it the newest one that's based off of Rose and Bad Wolf? It's like something time. Out of time? In and out of time? It's beautiful. If you're into shawls, go check it out. These are very gorgeous shawls. And there's a cowl, which I want to knit. I really want to make that cowl. Anyway, the patterns are very gorgeous. There's just go look. Go check out her stuff. It's awesome. I'm going to have to wear the shawl next week and tell you all about it again. It is gorgeous. Her stuff is gorgeous and lovely and well charted. And her errata is good, and she is also very good at getting back to people. So, now that I've had that side tangent, here is my vintage prim. I did start a different one. I started it in a different set of colors, and I didn't like the colors together, so I ripped it out. They just weren't doing what I wanted them to do. And I'm using leftovers, sock leftovers. So this is I'm using my SSK stitch markers. I've got 2013 over here and 2014 over here. And yeah, that's pretty good. It is a mixture. The blue is sparkly. Here it is. It's getting washed out. It is much nicer. There you go. And it's a shaded blue with sparkle in it. I think it's another Crafty Girl. I'm pretty sure it's one I got when I was doing the hubby's blanket. I'm pretty sure it's not one of mine. I don't remember knitting anything out of it, but it looks like another Crafty Girl colorway. I may be wrong. Again, I'm just using random leftovers. And then the contrasting color is this, and this is Apothecary Yarns in the Drama Queen colorway. I have finished the ribbing, and I finished one repeat of the pattern. Now the pattern, you can set it up any way you want. I'm doing a magic loop on US, I don't know what the US is. It's 3.5 millimeter needles, whatever that is in US. Huh. Everybody always says the US, and then they never say the millimeters, and so now I'm going to invert it, because that's who I am. So I set it up so that the one side is all pattern. You don't have to. I think it does call for place markering and then knitting all the way around and just dividing it where you will. I didn't feel like using an extra place marker, so I just made sure that my magic loop ended at the end of the pattern. So I do have more stitches on the back, which is just a knit and a purl round on the back. So with brioche, you knit one row in the main color and one row in the contrasting color, and 2 rows equal 1 knit row, 2 rounds, because essentially, if you look right here, you can see that up top here, you see all these yarn over. So, and I am going to try and get a video made this weekend of me at least brioche ribbing, so you can kind of see what that's like. So, hypothetically, if this were solid ribbing, what I would do is I would knit one, yarn over the purl, which is actually going to be the brioche on the inside here. So a full brioche is a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Ribbing, brioche ribbing. We're talking about ribbing. We'll just go with that. So I would knit one, I would yarn over and slip the purl at the same time. I would knit one, I would yarn over, slip the purl at the same time. And then once I'm done the brioche pattern on the back here, I just knit a row. Now for the purl, because 1 row of brioche knitting is 2 rows of actual work. So then when I'm going back across this on my second round on my contrasting color, I would yarn over the knit stitch like I did right here at the beginning. I'm not sure if that's showing up. I would yarn over right at the knit stitch, and then I would purl the previous yarn over and the previous purl stitch together, like a knit 2 together. Hold on. If I don't acknowledge that I've received it, it's going to ping again, and I haven't silenced everything. Okay. So on the second row, I'm going to yarn over all my knit stitches with my contrasting color, and I'm going to purl the previous yarn overs in the main color with the existing purl stitch, and that's what gives us this glorious double-sided fabric almost. And then when I get here, I purled. So, but the brioche is all on the one side, and the ribbing is in brioche. If you're new to brioche, try a brioche ribbing hat or something that's just simple ribbing. There's the Brioche-alicious hat. I haven't done it, but it looks very simple. And then on the inside you get the opposing color, right? So out here, main and contrast. Inside, main and contrast. The contrast is going to stand out. Anywho, that's the first of many. I have picked out the next set of colors to go, but so I have 3 nieces to knit hats for. Be nice if I got those done pretty quickly. So that's what's in there. I want to do I have such an itch. I think I have like bug bite or something. I don't know. I'm gonna try and do more brioche than just the hats. I do like brioche. Once you get the hang of it, it's like a knit. It's like a yarn over knit 2 together kind of. To me, it's like a yarn over knit 2 together because you're yarning over the stitch you're slipping, and then you're knitting the previous yarn over with the stitch that's currently there. So it reminds me a lot of eyelet lace, and it's like, for me, that's easy. Once I got the hang of it, it really didn't bug me, which is kind of awesome. Let's see. The last work in progress, I believe this is the last work in progress I have, is the giant monstrosity of a blanket. Because babies happen, and they don't wait for us to finish their knitting. So last time you saw it, I had 2 panels done, and I was on the 3rd panel. I believe I was on this panel here. So I finished the 3rd panel, as you can see. Ta-da! And I'm starting on the 4th panel. Down here. I have almost finished the black, which is the starting color, and then it will, of course, go in unison when I finished the fourth one, I get to, oh, look at all these ends. Look at them. There's an end for every color. Doesn't it just make you want to cry? Then I will be doing the edging. And then I'll be done. Which will be nice. There we go. It is pretty. This is a pretty little blanket. I think it would also be nice if you just knit each triangle in a different color, because I think that would also look really nice. If you don't feel like switching colors all the time. I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly I was thinking I don't mind ends, and I was wrong, because look at those ends. It does look nice. And it is going to be a boy, so I feel this will work because it's very gender neutral. The only qualm, I have a qualm. That sounds so like, what is a qualm? At least it's not a quim. And only people who've read the Marquis de Sade or watched Quills will understand what a quim is. Okay, so my qualm, now that we've descended into quim territory, qualm, and it may not show up as well on the white, and it took me forever to figure this out. I had to look at the pattern, the actual pattern from, this is an Amy Swenson, I believe, Indie Girl Knits, and the vintage prim, I believe, is knit in color. I've done it before, I've linked it before, so, and I had to look at the pattern and be like, am I on Clue? Is this really happening? But there is no way around there being a ridge of non-garter right in the start of your first square, or of your first triangle. It's going to be on both sides. There's no way around it. You can see it here. And when you have the blanket stretched out, it really doesn't, you can kind of see it, but it's not as noticeable, but it really bugged me. I spent hours trying to figure out how to not do that. And you can't unless you want these on alternating sides. And I wanted them all on the same side because I'm neurotic like that. I didn't want my joins, my little, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know the technical term for when you join garter and you get one side that's colored and one side that's not. Maybe there is a technical term for it, but I didn't want those on alternating sides. I wanted them all on the same side. And I unpicked the first one, I unpicked the second one. I tried doing all kinds of things to make it work. It doesn't work. It will never work. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but no matter what you do, you are going to end up with one garter ridge on one side of your thing. It's not going to be enough to notice, but if that kind of stuff bugs you, don't bother with the blanket. I like it. It's been fun. It's been easy. It's been thoughtless, which I like. Very mindless knitting. I mark down my rows so I know which rows I switch on. Aside from that, I haven't really had to think. But if that bugs you, if that one row is going to bug you, because some people it will, then I recommend not doing it. And that is in the Karen Pound of Love, Carrion, whatever. The Pound of Love, the Pound of Love. I have 4 pounds of love, and I'm going to have some left over. Maybe I should do another one just to have it, just in case. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I don't have a lot of acrylic in the stash. Maybe I should. Maybe that would be a good thing. Okay. I do have an FO. Actually, it's a pair of FOs. I finished my Collie Wobbles by Emily Estrada. Ta-da! They are knit out of 3 Irish girls in the Adorn sock. I knit them on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. This is the Byrne colorway. I don't know. It's got a Y in it, and I'm pretty sure it's Gaelic, so I'm going to pronounce it wrong anyway. And it has the gusset on the under the heel. It's the first time I've really played with that. This is pair 11 of 2015. My Dia de los Muertos are pair 12. I think I'll be able to do the 15 pairs in 2015. Will I do 16 in 2016? Probably not. I've discovered I don't like deadlines. When it comes to my knitting, I'm willing to knit for Christmas because I can start really far out and stuff, but when it comes to like 15 pairs in 2015, that just seems... Now that I've done it, it's like halfway through I'm like, what if I don't want to knit socks all year? What if I'm on a sock kick and I knit like 6 pairs in 2 months and then I'm like not wanting to anymore? I just want to stop for a bit. Will it make me feel like poo if I don't finish? Yeah, I'll feel like a giant poo head. Do you like how I'm not actually swearing? If I don't finish, I will probably feel bad about it, because that Canadian guilt will get to me. But if I'm on pair 12, 13, 14, 15, I have 4 pairs through October, November. I think that's doable. Hopefully I can get it done. Hopefully I'm not sitting there on New Year's Eve just like trying maniacally to finish, but I am going to be going home to Canada, to Saskatchewan. Not to Regina, actually. I'll be going to Saskatoon. My mother is going to be having a surgery, and I will be going there for a week, the first week of December, to help her recuperate. So there's going to be more than ample knitting time, I imagine, because I will be in an airport twice. I think it's like 7 hours because I have a stopover in BC and a stopover in Calgary because, you know, the more stops you have, the cheaper it is. So I'll be up and down the whole way. But that'll be good knitting time. And then, of course, hanging out with the mom when I'm not taking care of her. And I'm not going to get her a bell, though. I think if I got her a bell, there might be some abuses of power. She can yell at me. She's always yelled at me anyway. Not in a bad way, but like if she wants something, she can yell. She can get that pitch to get me to do whatever she needs from a room far away. It's a child mother thing, you know. When you hear your name, she can just say my name and I know automatically to pour her a Diet Coke and make popcorn. It's true. It's true. I'm 32 and I still have that embedded in my head. So... But I will be there to help her recuperate and to see her because it's been a while and I like seeing my mummy. Probably also see some friends in Saskatoon while I'm there. She'll be nice. We may go to Regina. I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to play out, but there will be no podcast the first week of December because that's what I will be doing. But subsequently, I will have a lot of knitting time, and socks are very portable, so yeah. Plus, I could probably knit some socks for her, and she has really tiny feet. Not that I'm banking on tiny feet, but yeah. Okay. Now, what's up next? Okay, before I get into miscellaneous, let me show you my progress on my cross stitch, because I'm going to steal from Karen now. This is my pokey things. I have pokey things. Karen, Bev, this is all your fault. I should call it the floss tube / pokey things, because those are what you guys call it, and it's all your fault. It's also Patty S. Patty Sand, PATTISAND. What is she? Is it one? Patty Sand, one? I want to say one, but Patty Sand, she's on Facebook and Instagram, and she does a podcast on FlossTube, which is all about cross stitch, and she's cool. She's a friend of mine, and so I checked it out, and I was riveted. I discovered this thing called FlossTube where there are actual podcasts about cross stitch, and I was like, oh no, this is bad. I already watched the knitting ones. I already watched the sewing ones. Now I have cross stitch. This is bad. Okay? I don't need this. And I fell down, went boom. Anywho, as you know, I've picked this back up. So, blowout. There we go. I have gone to town on March. Let me just bring it in, see if you can. So, Not sure where I was, but I know I finished this because I just finished it last night. I did the whole sky here with the thing and the pig head, and you'll notice I'm one stitch too high. I don't know why I put my house one stitch too high. Something happened, and it's all my fault. I did the house is done. I just need to put in 2 more stitches there and do some back stitching. The cloud up here, little carrots or turnips or whatever they're supposed to be. And of course the other pigs, I got the pig shirt started here, I got the pig shirt started here. The wolf, he just needs some black for his nose and his eyes, and then he's all done. I'd like to have that done for next week, I really would. And Frosted Pumpkin, they just came out with a new sampler, and it's a Headless Horseman Halloween thing. Damn, I want that. Maybe I'll get it. I don't know. I'm trying to be good right now. But March is almost done, and then I will start on April. Of course, as I've shown you before, this side is completely... The edging is done for this side and the middle. It's just these ones over here I didn't finish yet. So I'm going to do these as I hit them, because for some reason I find... The border is the most annoying part to me, and I think maybe I stopped because I banged out all this portion of the border and it bugged the crap out of me. Just thinking that may have been what set me off. But, yeah. So March, almost done. At this rate, I'll have it done in 2016 and no one can mock me. There, see, I managed to get my show notes. Now I can look up what I had in here. Spinning, none. Good luck to everyone who's spinning for Spinzilla. There was a power outage when Spinzilla was being registered for, so I did not register, and I'm kind of glad for it now because I have had the weekend from hell. Mail. I have mail. I have mail I totally wasn't expecting. I got a wonderful surprise, which was kind of funny because Susan, you didn't need to do this. Susan sent me a replacement band. Hey, quit blowing out. There, better? I'm actually getting some sun in through the window. With the correct base of Zine, 75 Superwash Merino, 20 Nylon, 5 Stellina, 438 yards for the Cindy, which she totally didn't need to do. I told her, I said, you didn't need to do that because, my God, woman, you were so busy. And then she sent me this gorgeous tote bag for all of my yarny goodness, which I now need to fill up with yarny goodness. Yarny goodness. It's so pretty. It's got the logo. She's got such a pretty logo. Come here. Of course, I folded it up first. There we go. Like, her logo is so pretty. Her pretty logo is the reason it has its own stripe. You can actually get the Desert Vista stripe. Like the socks are striped in the color of the logo. It's really pretty. Anywho, you didn't need to do that, but that was very sweet, and I love it, and I'm going to use it like crazy. And it's got a Vista print coupon, which I may actually use. Woohoo! Either way, awesome bag. I do intend to use it. I don't know what for yet. But it made me happy. Because Bebop was in the emergency room this weekend. He started having severe breathing issues. He, as you had heard before, he had a cough, but his breathing became extremely labored, and he was refusing food. He was refusing water. He wasn't eating or drinking. He was eschewing food, which is... Sometimes he'll get a little, like, nervous or whatever, and he won't want to eat, but he was literally turning his back. He would get up and turn around so he couldn't see it. And he was having trouble breathing. He was coughing, even more so, and it was scary. So we took him to the emergency vet, and he has pulmonary edema, which is water around the heart, He had some water in his lungs. His heart is enlarged. He's had a heart murmur since he was born. I have always known about his heart murmur. It's never been a big deal, but now he's into the stages of heart disease because his heart is oversized due to the murmur getting worse, and pets get old. That's what happens. They kept him in overnight, and he was not eating at all for them. Although he doesn't eat when he's not at home or when he's on the road. It's really hard to get him to eat. He doesn't like eating while traveling. He doesn't like eating at other people's places. He only eats at home. They gave him appetite stimulants, and eventually he ate some wet food from a syringe, so they said we could take him home, where he suddenly became ravenous and ate everything in sight, which I figured might happen once, but he had dehydrated himself. So he is now on an extra 2 pills, one's every 12 hours and one's every day. So now he and I are rivaling each other for how many pills we can take in a day. I'm still winning, but he's getting up there. He's very tired and lethargic now because we got him home Monday night. And today is Thursday? We got him home Monday night. He's still pretty out of it. They pumped him full of fluid. They pumped him full of drugs. They took a bunch of x-rays. It was a long 2 days. Especially with me not feeling very well. Like, I'm under the weather too, so it's just been, it'll be a good restful weekend, but I've gotten really protective of him now because, of course, he's so pathetic. His breathing is all better now that he's on his drugs and that they've given him the IV drugs. They rehydrated him. He is doing better. He is eating, but we still have to make an appointment with his regular vet to make sure that we can continue him on the heart medication. And they want him to see a cardiologist, and I don't know where I stand on that just yet. It seems like it's a lot of money. Pets are a lot of money, and they're way more money when they're sick. And he's not in heart failure, he's got heart disease, which means he's going to go downhill. I have to realize that, and I have to be a good pet owner. And I was talking with Mum, and he is so stressed out when he travels, even to the vet or to the groomer. It like stresses him out, and he's already got a cognitive disorder where it's like Alzheimer's for a dog. So I don't know that we'll be taking him to a cardiologist unless these drugs aren't working properly. Because the less I have to make him travel, and we're talking about a several-hour trip at this point for him to go see a cardiologist, not even taking into account the amount of money it would cost, it would be several hours. And that would really, really put stress on him. So if these drugs work, if the drugs he has been prescribed take hold and work, I could see pushing off a cardiologist until our credit cards have recovered and until he's in a better place. Because he's had enough stress. He's had enough stress. So that's my little bebop. I do have other mail. So now that I've been a downer, let me just show you some pretty things. I did Camp Loopy this year, and I managed to do all 3. This is my reward skein. It's the Hot Safari Nights. It's 670 yards. Dream in color, smushy. It's pretty. It wants to be a brioche shawl. It has already told me. I just need to find its companion piece. But it would like to be a brioche shawl. That's what it wants to be when it grows up. And I'm going to listen to it. I love Dream in Color, but it's so smushy and so pretty. So that was really exciting. And I also got this in the mail. Whoa. You're going to get a lot of glare. It's the mini skiing set in superwash merino nylon, 463 yards, from Nitty in Color. These are her Halloween colors. One of each of her Halloween colors, and they're all gorgeous. And I want them all. But I will be cold sheeping for a little bit. Because that's who I am. So, if you want to partake of the Yarnivore Brioche Long, it is going to run till the end of November. Join the Ravelry group, post your finished objects, chatter on if you have anything to share. I've posted some brioche patterns, as have others, that you may want to consider doing. You have 2 months. You should be able to make a hat, right? I'm going to try and do some videos this weekend while I have the hubby to myself, so he can manage everything while you're watching my hands knit. I did fingernail wraps. It's the second time trying them. These are the Sally Hansen ones. There was a really good coupon. There was a good coupon. It's the only way things get done. Really good coupons. That's who I am. Really good coupon. Pavlovian response to coupons. But these last for about 10 days, and then it doesn't look like someone died on my hands. So I had gotten 2 when my mom was here, and I finally put 1 on. So yay that. Do join in the Brioche Along. I did want to say, I have a bunch of people I know who read a lot. I've been posting what I read, the reading challenge on Instagram, and I have a friend, disclaimer, I have a friend, one, who is putting up a bunch of his short stories to read on the interwebs at dirkwrites.wordpress.com, and that's DIRCK writes, WRITES, at wordpress.com. They're little short stories, so if you like reading on your phone, or if you like reading on your iPad or whatever, and you're out and about and you want something to read, they're just short stories. They're really good. I am a big fan of, what's the story? Just clicking around on here. There is one that he did that is based off a Lovecraft story. The Notes of Eric Zahn. That one's really good. I recommend it. So check out Dirk Writes at wordpress.com if you like reading short stories and short fictions on the interwebs. I've read a few on my phone. They're great for if you're falling asleep or if you're on the can. This is where a lot of reading gets done. And it's a WordPress, so it's easy to check out. But if you're a reader, and he's got a Lovecraftian bent, but I really enjoy his stuff. Give it a check out. New podcasts that I've checked out, as I mentioned, I've been watching Patty Sand. She's actually Patty Sandstrom, which is why it's Patty Sand. I was like confused by that in the beginning. She has a floss tube. It's really fun to watch if you like cross-stitching. Fiber Artsy is another floss tube that I have started watching. She only has 5, but she's great. I love watching her. She entertains me so. And my friend, I will denote this, that she is my friend and has been previously my friend for a year or so, who I met at SSK, and she's adorable. Her name is Jan, and she has the Knit Sense podcast, which is a cross between Scentsy and knitting. And I believe she's also on episode 5. I just watched that one. She's adorable. Her username is JanEllenRN. But you can find her at knitsense.com, I believe. Try it. Or just Google Knit Sense YouTube. It'll come up. And that's all I've got to say. And I've taken up an hour of your life. But at least you know what I've been up to lately, right? So I will be back next week. I hope if you have any brioche questions that I can try and answer. I'm not an expert in brioche, but I will try and help. If you have any, feel free to post them in the one thread that's not photos. In the meantime, I'm going to try this weekend. And I should be able to, because the hubby doesn't care. He will totally help me do it. It's just a matter of me getting it done. I'll try and take some videos of me doing brioche ribbing, because I know people said that would help them out. There are some good YouTube videos for it. So feel free to try those out. I don't really have a recommendation because the one I used is the Craftsy class by Mercedes Clark, who's going to be a teacher at SSK, and I should probably learn to say her name properly. Tijvavik? That's it. I'm going to meet her, and it's going to be like, I have screwed up your name so many times, I'm sorry. But, yeah. That's all I've got to report for this week, and I will check in with you next week. I hope your October is going better than mine. It's usually my month. But I will see everybody next week.